Whitechapel Horror. Ripper strikes again. 5 victims in 10 weeks.
This was Whitechapel, 1888, when Jack the Ripper hunted. The full documentary. Now.
The fog rolls in thick tonight. You can barely see your hand in front of your face. The gas lamps flicker weakly along Hanbury Street, casting pale yellow halos that dissolve into grey nothing. The cobblestones are wet, always wet. The Thames breathes its damp breath into every alley, every doorway, every narrow passage between the crumbling brick tenements. You hear footsteps, not yours, hers. A woman walks ahead of you, her shawl pulled tight against the autumn cold. She moves quickly, heels clicking against stone. Her breath comes in short, white puffs. She does not look back. She knows better than to look back. But there are other footsteps now. Behind her, slow, deliberate, patient. The fog swallows sound, it swallows light, it swallows screams. She turns the corner onto Dorset Street. The footsteps follow. The gas lamp on the corner sputters once, twice, and dies. Darkness swallows everything. By morning, Whitechapel will wake to another body. You open your eyes to the sound of bells. Christchurch Spitalfields tolls 6 times. The sound rolls across rooftops still slick with dew and soot. Morning comes slowly here. It does not arrive with golden light or birdsong. It seeps in grey and cold, smelling of coal smoke, horse dung, and the sharp tang of rotting vegetables from yesterday's market. You step outside into Flower and Dean Street. The lodging house door slams behind you. Already the street is alive. Hawkers push carts loaded with fish, bread, rags. Children dart between legs, barefoot despite the chill. A man leans against a lamppost, eyes hollow, skin yellow with gin. Women in faded skirts stand in doorways, arms crossed, watching you pass. Everywhere, people. Whitechapel is one of the most crowded places on earth. 30,000 souls crammed into a single square mile. Jews fleeing pogroms in Russia and Poland. Irish escaping famine. English factory workers with ruined lungs. Sailors on shore leave. Thieves, beggars, prostitutes who sell themselves for 4pence, the price of a bed for the night. You walk east toward Commercial Street. The alleys here are so narrow 2 men cannot pass without turning sideways. Laundry hangs overhead, dripping. The buildings lean inward, almost touching, blocking what little light filters through the perpetual smoke haze. The air tastes of sulphur and grease. A woman brushes past you. Her dress is patched. Her face is lined beyond her years. She does not meet your eyes. No one meets anyone's eyes anymore. Not since August. Not since the killing began. You hear them talking. 2 men outside a tobacco shop. Voices low. One glances over his shoulder before speaking. The other nods grimly. 3rd one, the first man mutters. 3rd in a month. Police don't know nothing. Police never do, not here. You move closer. Neither man notices you. They say he cut her throat so deep he nearly took her head off. Christ! And worse, much worse. The second man shakes his head. He spits into the gutter and walks away. You pass a newsstand. The headlines scream in bold black letters, another horror in Whitechapel. Woman found mutilated. Police baffled. A boy no older than 10 stands beside the stack of papers, shouting, "Murder! Read all about it! Ripper strikes again!" Ripper. The name is everywhere now, whispered in pubs, shouted by newsboys, scrawled on walls, Jack the Ripper. A name that came from nowhere, a letter sent to the press, maybe genuine, probably not. But it stuck. It spread like cholera, like fire. You see a policeman on the corner of Wentworth Street. He stands stiff in his dark uniform, truncheon at his side, eyes scanning the crowds. More police are patrolling now. You see them everywhere, but they are outnumbered, overwhelmed. They cannot watch every shadow, cannot guard every doorway. A woman walks past the constable. She pulls her shawl tighter. She glances behind her. Once, twice, her eyes are wide. He is still here. You turn into Dorset Street. They call it the worst street in London, perhaps the worst street in the world. The buildings sag like broken teeth. The windows are cracked or boarded over. The smell is unbearable. Human waste, spoiled meat, unwashed bodies pressed together in rooms no larger than coffins. You pass the lodging houses. Inside, 100 people sleep on rope, stretched between walls. They pay 2p to lean over the rope all night. If they cannot pay, they are thrown out. If they cannot pay, they walk the streets until dawn. Many do not survive the night. You walk deeper. Spitalfields. Market spreads before you, chaotic and loud. Vendors shout prices, shoppers haggle, pickpockets move like ghosts through the crowd. You smell roasted chestnuts, fried fish, sweat. The press of bodies is suffocating, but even here, in the noise, in the light, you feel it. The fear, it sits beneath every transaction, every conversation, every glance toward an alley mouth. You pass beneath an archway. The light dies, gas lamps line the passage ahead, but they are spaced too far apart. Between each pool of yellow glow lies a stretch of shadow. Deep, impenetrable. You cannot see what waits inside. Your footsteps echo. You walk faster. Behind you, something moves. You stop. Nothing. Just wind. Just fog. Just Whitechapel. Step into the shadows of Victorian London, a city of stark contrasts. In the autumn of 1888, the gaslights of Whitechapel flickered over cobbled streets, casting long, menacing shadows. This was a place of poverty and desperation, but it was about to become the hunting ground for one of history's most notorious and enigmatic figures, Jack the Ripper. It all began on August 31st when the body of Ann Nichols was discovered. Her death was brutal, and it sent a ripple of fear through the already terrified community. But this was only the start. As the weeks turned colder, the killer struck again and again. Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes. The attacks grew more savage, more audacious. The newspapers, hungry for a story, sensationalized the killings, giving the phantom a name that would echo through eternity. Jack the Ripper. The police were baffled. Scotland Yard, led by men like Inspector Frederick Aberline, launched one of the largest manhunts in history. They interviewed thousands, followed countless leads, and waded through a sea of public speculation and fear. But the Ripper was like a ghost. He moved silently through the labyrinthine alleys, committed his horrific acts, and vanished back into the London fog without a trace. Letters began to arrive, purportedly from the killer himself. Taunting, arrogant letters signed Jack the Ripper. The most infamous one, the From Hell letter, was sent with a piece of a human kidney. Were they genuine? Or cruel hoaxes designed to deepen the mystery and terror? We may never know for sure. The final canonical victim, Mary Jane Kelly, suffered the most gruesome fate of all. Her murder, indoors, showed a level of savagery that shocked even the most hardened investigators. And then, as suddenly as it began, it stopped. The killings ceased. The letters dried up. Jack the Ripper disappeared, leaving behind a city gripped by fear and a mystery that has captivated and horrified the world for over a century. Who was he? A doctor, a butcher, a member of the royal family? The theories are endless, but the identity of Jack the Ripper remains one of history's greatest unsolved cases. His legacy is not just the lives he took, but the questions he left behind, questions that still haunt us from the dark, gaslit streets of Victorian London. Thanks for watching. If you're fascinated by history's darkest mysteries, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more stories. See you next time. London, 1888. The air in Whitechapel is thick with coal smoke and fear. It's a city of shadows where gaslight struggles to pierce the gloom. And in these shadows, a monster is born. They call him Jack the Ripper. Our story begins in the early hours of August 31st. A woman named Mary Ann Nichols is found dead in Bucks Row. The police are called, but this is no ordinary crime. The brutality is shocking, unlike anything the hardened officers of Scotland Yard have ever seen. The press sensationalizes the murder, and a wave of panic begins to ripple through the city's poorest district. Just over a week later, on September 8th, the killer strikes again. The body of Annie Chapman is discovered in the backyard of 29 Hanbury Street. The pattern is disturbingly similar, but the violence has escalated. The killer is becoming bolder, more confident. The people of London are now terrified. Who is this phantom? Is he a mad doctor, a butcher, a nobleman with a dark secret? The theories are as wild and numerous as the city's winding alleys. Then at the end of September, the killer achieves something truly terrifying. On the 30th, in the dead of night, he murders 2 women in less than an hour. First, Elizabeth Stride is found in Dutfield's yard. It seems the killer was interrupted as her injuries are less severe. But he isn't finished. Less than a mile away and only 45 minutes later, the body of Catherine Eddowes is discovered in Mitre Square. This time, the attack is ferocious. The killer even takes a piece of her apron, which is later found near a message scrawled on a wall. The Jews are the men that will not be blamed for nothing. The police commissioner, fearing it will incite riots, has the message washed away before it can be photographed, destroying a crucial piece of evidence forever. Around this time, letters begin to arrive at the Central News Agency, taunting the police. One is signed with the chilling name that will go down in history, Jack the Ripper. Are they from the real killer or a cruel prankster? No one knows for sure. The final, most gruesome chapter of this dark tale unfolds on November 9th. A rent collector, sent to retrieve overdue payment from a young woman named Mary Jane Kelly, peers through her window on Miller's Court. What he sees is a scene of unimaginable horror. This murder is the most brutal of all, committed indoors, where the killer had time to indulge his darkest impulses. After Mary Kelly's death, the murders abruptly stop. Jack the Ripper vanishes as mysteriously as he appeared, melting back into the London fog. Over 100 suspects were considered, from doctors and butchers to artists and even a member of the royal family, but no one was ever charged. The identity of Jack the Ripper remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of all time. Who was he? Why did he stop? We may never know the truth. The dark streets of Whitechapel have kept their secret for over a century. Thanks for watching. If you're fascinated by historical mysteries like this one, don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories from the shadows. See you next time.